I get to wake up and make dope shit every day. And if I need a little money, I play poker in LA.
This is the first ever episode of the What Up podcast. Without further ado, I present to you the Twitch poker streamer with a ton of momentum. I think he's the next big thing in poker and maybe outside of poker. If I could invest in anything in the poker world right now, I would invest in the Donkeyfarm Twitch stream. He lives in Vegas. He grinds tournaments on Twitch. Let's bring him in. Yo, what's up, Donk? How you doing, man? So we weren't sure if you were going to make it on, actually, because you were just in a tournament really deep. What happened in the tourney, man?
A shot take, and I grinded the short stack the whole tournament, 0 bounties, and a $326 bounty shoved on me, blind versus blind. He had 8-6. I had ace-king suited. He flopped an 8 and turned a 6, and we were shortly knocked out later.
Oh, man. Sorry to hear that. What place did you go out? I know there's $18K up top. What was the buy-in?
$109 tournament, PKO, $80K guaranteed. Unfortunately, did not get a PKO somehow throughout the whole thing, but locked up about $350 and 21st place at the end of the day.
Cool. Did you win some people some money on that, or was that all you?
I had 100% of myself on that one.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, the Donkeyfarm is a very popular streamer on Twitch. His stream is slightly unconventional. He's playing poker the whole time, but it's really just super entertaining. Can you tell me about when did you start playing poker? We don't have to go through your entire Twitch history, but how long have you been playing for? And then what prompted you to get onto Twitch and start streaming poker?
That's a great question, Patrick. I started playing poker like a lot of people after the moneymaker effect. In 2003, I was 13 years old and saw the clips on ESPN. And like many of us in the chat, I was just in love with the game at first sight. Would play with my travel baseball team, basketball team for quarters and dollars on road trips. Even played under my mom's name on Full Tilt Poker, unsuccessfully, I might add. But yeah, I've been playing. If you do the math, 2003, I'm 13, I'm 32. So I've been playing for about 19 years now. And I had my first ever profitable year in 2022. So the sky is the limit for the dunk, I think. Maybe not so much.
Was that online mostly? 2022 when you turned it?
Yeah, like before, yeah. Yeah, I played strictly on ACR. I moved to Vegas 5 years ago to take that dream of becoming a professional poker player. I said, screw it. I'd rather make that leap and say I did it instead of regretting not wasting my life away, but just not taking that chance in upstate New York. So I did move to Vegas 5 years ago. I played poker for a living for 6 months, and I decided, yeah, I need to get a job.
So how'd you end up on Twitch?
I don't know. It's funny because like me and my buddies are always talking poker and stuff, and I'm like, I want to stream, but it's really hard if you're not a crusher. Like, how can I stand out? Because it's tough when you're streaming for hours and hours and you have like 5 to 10 viewers, like, and that's not bad. But I was like, how can I stand out? How can I set myself apart from the pack? And I just Googled donkey costume. I'm like, can't sell sex on Twitch, but maybe I can make it more fun to watch, So yeah, I found a donkey costume in China and took about 2 months to get here. But yeah, we acquired a donkey costume and here we are.
So you decided on Twitch and the costume pretty much all at the same time, and you're like, came out.
I did stream 4 times in December without a costume, so there's some OGs that do know what I look like. But like I said, it's tough when you're new, man. I streamed for 12 hours to one viewer, and that one viewer was my burner account. So it's like
I did the exact same
thing. If I
want
to do this, I gotta set myself apart because it's one viewer is tough.
Yeah, if you're an unknown and you just start a Twitch account and start streaming, you'll have 0 people watching and like nobody can find you. From what I've heard, Twitch isn't a discovery platform. You need to like grow your stream off of Twitch. So because they list the streams in order of view count in each category. So if you just hop on Twitch, you're just going to be at the bottom and no one's going to be able to find you. So it's really tough to get off the ground on Twitch.
So since I put the costume on, it was just like constant growth. Like we're at about 100 average viewers the last few months, but people come in thinking it was always like that. No, the first few, like it was like 10 average and 12, 15. It was a long grind, but I'm just amazed at where we are today.
Yeah, you recently qualified for Twitch Partner. I don't even know exactly what that is. Are the criteria for that averaging 75 viewers for the entirety of your stream?
That's the one that holds people up. Yeah, like you can 500 hours in a month. That's easy for a streamer. 7 or 11 unique days. Another easy one that you can control. You can't control the viewers, which 75 average viewers is absolutely absurd. I didn't think there was a chance in hell when I started Twitch that we would make that 75 average viewers, and it doesn't count raids or hosts. So it's actually incredible that our community accomplished that.
Yeah, I feel like people who don't watch Twitch think 75 is like average viewers is like not that high of a number, but it's actually ridiculously impressive to get there. I guess when they see it,
the same people that think 75 average viewers isn't tough is the same people that watch live at the bike and someone loses 50 grand and say that's not a lot of money. You know, it's just it's all context.
Yeah, no, I have personal experience and know how hard that is to do. So how is it wearing the donkey costume all the time? Was it easy? Is it easy? Are you sick of wearing it?
It sucks. Not gonna sugarcoat it. It absolutely sucks. Early on, when I was getting like 10 people, which you have to start somewhere. And early on, when I was getting like 10 people, I would look over at this thing in the chair, and I'd be like, I should stream tonight, but this fucking suit, and I would not stream a lot because of it, because it sucks, man. I put myself in this position, so I can't complain. The success is absolutely incredible. I wouldn't have done it any other way, except maybe being really, really good at poker. But yeah, it does suck.
So are you ever going to take it off and stream without the costume?
So anybody familiar with ACR is familiar with the Boski special. So early on, I crushed it. I just was on a massive
Boski
heater.
Special is a tournament named after Jeff Boski. It's an $11 buy-in. It runs at 4 p.m. Pacific every day. And it's usually a 12.5K guarantee, but on certain days, including Sundays, that guarantee is bigger. But it's just $11 buy-in and at least a 12.5K guarantee. That means there's at least 1,250 runners in it every time. So take it from there.
Yeah, so this tournament a year ago, I ended up getting second place and fourth place in a week, and then like another seventh place shortly after that. And I'm sitting in my costume, just super high, like, oh man, I'm a crusher, I'm gonna win this thing like any day now. And I went to my Twitch bio and I wrote, I do want to not have to stream in this costume my whole life. So I put the donkey costume comes off when we ship the Boski special. And that is the only way I can take it off. I'm a man of my word, donk of my word, whatever you want to say. I need to win the Boski special without chopping, and then I will be able to stream in freedom.
Oh, careful. We saw like your chin there. We don't want to reveal anything yet, but okay, yeah. So he has to win this massive field tournament in order to stream without the costume. So, hopefully that happens soon for you. But then again, I feel like the donkey costume is a really cool thing. So I don't know. We'll I guess you'll cross that bridge when you come to it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if I win the Boski special, it's the donkey doesn't die with that. I'll put into play. You're just like me, an idea guy. We're always trying to evolve our stream. So the donkey suit will become a like a channel point contribution, 1 million channel points, or level 5 hype train. So the donkey costume is not going to die when I win the Boski special. So it'll be in play, just not every single time.
You mentioned several Twitch features right there. Did you ever consider streaming on YouTube in the beginning? Or how did you select Twitch as
No,
the
I
place
did
where
in
you
the
wanted?
beginning.
How and why did you go with Twitch?
Twitch has just always been the main streaming platform, so it was kind of a no-brainer. The times we are in, I do see a lot of people going to YouTube, so definitely thinking about that transition. Potentially, if Twitch keeps turning me down for partner, I don't like being rejected, so I always try to prove the rejector wrong and go on to huge things. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but YouTube is quite possibly in the future as well.
You don't, do you do any type of content or promotion or anything outside of Twitch? It doesn't seem like you do.
No, definitely working on it, but yeah, I have been slacking in those areas. I've just been so focused on winning this Boski special that it's kind of consumed me that I haven't made content, but I have people that are willing to do it for me, which is absolutely incredible and amazing of them.
Yeah. Okay. What else do you do besides stream poker? You have a day job, correct?
Yep. I'm a logistics manager for a food company in Las Vegas. So I do work a 9 to 5, and then I come home and adorn a donkey costume in my spare time. It's a thrilling life we lead.
Tell me about, you told me this offline. Tell me about when how your parents discovered you streamed as a donkey.
So my goal was to get 1,000 followers, and my parents were coming out to Vegas right around the time we were going to hit 1,000. So I told my viewers, I'm like, we're gonna come out to our parents.
You streamed
Once
for
we
a
hit a
while
thousand
without your parents
followers,
knowing, right?
they didn't know for about 10 months. So I lived a not a secret persona, but a fursona per se. And yeah, my parents came to the apartment, and I set a box on the table, and I said, there's something I've been hiding from you guys this whole time. I have to come out. And they said, you're gay? And I said, no, I'm a donkey in my spare time. And they're like, we could have accepted you if you were gay, but this is where we draw the line in the sand. And they slammed the door on me, and I haven't seen them since.
Really? I'm sorry to hear that. Well, maybe once you become a lot bigger, like I suspect you will, you could maybe get back in
No,
our good
I'm
graces.
totally just kidding. Totally just kidding. They're super open, like accepting, which I had never had a doubt in my mind. My dad actually plays my home game every Saturday, so they're really cool about it.
They moved to Vegas too?
No,
Oh, your home game on
they're in New
ACR.
York still.
Tell us
Home
about your
game on
home game.
ACR, yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
tell us about that.
every Saturday, I run a home game that just gets a ton of people playing it nowadays. It's incredible. For $1.65, we can all play together on Saturday on ACR around 9 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. Sorry, East Coasters, but yeah, it's just a way to play with the viewers and have a lot of fun. And man, we dish some bad beats to each other.
Yeah, I played it. I actually didn't make it yesterday, but I
Oh
played
yeah,
the previous 2 Saturdays, and
last week, yeah.
I shoved all in every single hand in the late reg period. Fortunately, it has short late registration, so I was only able to fire 7 bullets, and they're only $1.65 each. So
Yeah,
I like to create some
yeah,
action
I
that game.
appreciate that.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
we all do. It's a crazy game.
All right, well, I think I am ready to bring on the next guest.
Yeah,
Um,
we know why everybody's here. I do appreciate everybody hanging out and you getting the donkey out there. I really appreciate that, Patrick. But we all have questions for your next guest, so let's stop wasting everybody's time. And I'll just say, peace out, donks. Take it away, Patrick.
all right, later, brother. Thanks for coming on.
All right, peace, brother. Have a
Later.
good one.
You too. And that was the Donkeyfarm. Follow him on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, his stream is amazing. Let me go see if I can find the main guest we're all here for. I just wanted to introduce the Donk to a bunch of you guys who aren't on Twitch. I feel like people outside of Twitch don't know the Donkeyfarm and also don't know like really what's going on Twitch. Twitch is like the most amazing part of the poker community that I've experienced. It's just like it's kind of like a bubble. I call it like a panacea of the poker community where everyone's super friendly. Everyone supports each other, tries to help new streamers come up, and it's just a great place. And everyone on there is super cool. So I'm glad to be a part of it now. I am letting Bryan Sagbigsal into the Zoom meeting right now. All right, you there? You're not on the stream yet. I just wanted to see if you're there. Okay, I can. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the interview you've all been waiting for since September 29th, when the Jack 4 hand went down at Hustler Casino Live. I should probably tell you this. I was the creative director / technical director. We were kind of all jacks of all trades there for Hustler Casino Live. Since it's the beginning of its development up through August 29th, which was 13 months into the show being live. And I quit my job for unrelated reasons. 1 month, and then 1 month later, this hand happens. It was just a crazy serendipitous sequence of events. So I worked with Bryan very closely for over a year, and let's bring him on. And we're live. What's up, Bryan? How you doing today? Hold on. Sorry, you're muted. All right. First podcast ever. Hey, what's up, Bryan? How are you today, man?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good chat with you in front of the poker community and probably a bunch of other people. But let me pull up my...
Yeah.
All right, let's just... So you're doing good, considering everything that happened, right?
Yeah, considering everything that happened and that, I thought that was a really good intro. So I wanted to say bravo on that. That was a really great intro. And yeah, just to kind of like cap on to what you said, for anybody who doesn't know.
Cap on. There's no cap in here.
Add on to what you were saying. No cap, obviously. Just add on what you're saying. Yes, it's me. I'm Bryan. I've been working with Patrick for a long time, since the beginning of Hustler as well. We essentially worked together for only with a month after, until he left. I ended up ending my term over there, but yeah, let's get right into it. I just wanted to come on here and promote my documentary and make sure that I get the message out and everything, and promote the podcast and everything.
Yeah, you have made a documentary that's almost finished. It was scheduled to be released tonight, but you're just putting the finishing touches on it, and it should come out on Valentine's Day, apparently, 2 days from now. But we saw the trailer on Twitter and Instagram, and you did a really good job with that. The documentary is called Untold Secrets Behind: The Biggest Scandal in Poker History, Jack 4 Gate. Now, what is the...
Yeah, that's like the long title, kind of.
What is the purpose of you making this documentary?
So there's a few different things that come to mind when I think about just the purpose of the film in general. And it's not only just to speak my truth, but to get the message out there that there's a lot of missing contextual information in regards to this story that has caused the perception of this hand and situation, my life, to get completely misunderstood, I would say. So I just kind of wanted to set the record straight. I wanted to make sure that everybody understands that there's a whole different side to this story, somebody who's directly involved that just hasn't been able to talk. And that's just me exercising my right to privacy and wanting to try to handle this a different way rather than online in front of a podcast audience. But here I am 4 months later, and I'm ready to articulate on what's going on.
All right. So what was working at Hustler Casino Live like for you? And explain your history with them.
Okay, so um, I was in contact with Ryan a long time ago, prior to the stage being built, and
Bryan
we would go
Feldman,
back and
co-owner
forth
and
on.
show producer of Hustler Casino Live.
Yeah, just to clarify that, yeah, I was in contact with Ryan Feldman through Twitter, and it was a process at the beginning. We didn't have an exact role, and they weren't even done building the stage, so we would go back and forth for months until I actually finally had time to come in. And I initially learned how to do the graphics. I learned how to do audio, register cards. So I was a little bit of a jack of all trades when it came to it, but my title was audio technician, technically. So, yeah, I mean, for the most part, I would describe my tenure there as really, really interesting. You know what I mean? There is great times, there is bad times, there is times where I couldn't stand it, and there is times where I couldn't imagine myself working anywhere else. So, um, yeah, that's what I would say as far as if you ask me to describe my time working at the Hustler.
Okay. So the event in question, the Jack Forehand, happened on September 9th, 2022. But let's go back a little bit before that, because you had acquired some debt at that point, and you owed people about 10K on when it, by the time September 29th rolled around. So tell me how you play poker. Tell me how that poker
Yeah.
was going for you in the weeks and months prior to September 29th, kind of how you ended up with debt.
Well, you would have to kind of take a look at my overall poker career and like how I went about playing. Like prior to working at the Hustler, I went up and down in stakes, and I was really in over my head when I was trying to move up in stakes. So, when I first started working at a Hustler, I was only playing like the $300 buy-in, and then which was 2.5, I believe, at the Hustler, 100, 300,
$300
and
buy-in
then
cash game. Yep.
yeah, the cap. And then from there, as I got used to the stakes and everything, playing with my own money, winning and losing, I would say I was roughly a break-even player, sometimes winning, sometimes going on rushes for weeks, sometimes not having any money for the entire month and just being broke basically. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of like how I started. And then I once Billy came into the Hustler, and this is, I just want to reiterate that I have nothing bad to say about anybody at the Hustler, whether it's Billy or Ryan or Nik or anybody, but it was a really enticing game to play. There was 10-20, 10-20, 40. We eventually started like a double board PLO game, and
That's the
yeah,
game that
the
got you into a
action,
little trouble, right? A double board PLO bomb pot game. It was all bomb pots.
yeah, that was the most insane game that I've pretty much ever played. In combination with just pure degenerate gambling, I was also drinking at the time, and it really caught me off guard when I just found myself in a game that I normally would never play, and it was like really new to me, but I just was so enticed because of just the environment that I put myself in, and all of the pressure that which really wasn't pressure, but I wanted to play in these games. And you know you could either win a lot or lose a lot, and I was on the bad side of that, and I've been on the good side of that. And I would say recently, the days leading up to the Jack 4 gate and everything like that, I had went on a small downswing, you could say.
Okay. So, um, on September 29th, let's see. So everyone pretty much knows that you were caught stealing three $5,000 chips off of what ended up being Robbi J. Lou's stack.
Hmm.
When did it first cross your mind to steal chips off a stack? That day? Had you been thinking about it for weeks or longer, or when did it come to your mind to that, hey, I could possibly find a spot where I could easily take a few chips?
Yeah, to answer your question on that, um, the best answer that I could give you is located in the documentary when I talk about how it was, the experience of going through that and what was going through my mind. But in short, I would just describe that it was just pure desperation. You know what I mean? Some people make mistakes, and I ended up, making a mistake that,
Right. But when did you start thinking about
was
taking the chips? Was it that day during the show, or was it before that? Or taking chips, period.
Yeah, that was a very, like I said, it was like a rash type of decision. It was something that was very fast and not something that was premeditated or like something that I thought out because again, I have no history or whatever with anybody at the table. This is like a super high stakes game and yeah, there's no relation there or anything that I thought about, you know, doing it in the past or whatever.
Uh-huh. I guess I kind of already touched on this, but why did you take the chips? The 15K in chips?
So yeah, like you were initially talking about, there was a time right before all of this happened where I had a really bad string of losses, and I just, got found myself in like it felt like an insurmountable amount of debt. Now, when it comes to it, I did something that, you probably really shouldn't amount to in order to pay that debt, but that's kind of the situation that I ran into. I just had no way of trying to figure it out. It was $10,000 that I needed to make up for. And me at the time, being 24 years old, like, I mean, the job that we were working at, that we were pretty underpaid. Not saying that, I'm using that as an excuse or whatever. I'm just saying that we at times weren't paid a living wage. And combine that with, a really bad string of losses, that resulted in just me taking measures into my own hands. And it really wasn't like the best decision that I made in the past, I could say.
For sure.
I would definitely say.
Did you think about, see, it seems ridiculous to a lot of people that, or very coincidental that you happened to steal the chips off of Robbi's stack of all people the day this hand went down. Now, did you target her stack when you went to take the chips? Did you know you were taking it from Robbi J. Lou stack?
A very good question. So that's something that I directly address in the very beginning of the documentary when it's coming out on, Valentine's Day in a couple of days. And I go into greater detail on how that encounter happened. But to just summarize that, it wasn't a targeted attack at Robbi. It was just complete coincidence. If you understand kind of how the flow of things go at the stream afterwards, if you work audio, you have to collect all of the microphones. And sometimes when you develop those sort of relationships with the players at the table, you'll sit down, you'll talk. I was talking to Andy, I was talking to Phil Ivey, I was talking to Eric Person. And as soon as they left the table, by deductive reasoning, it was the only person that the chips could have been. Now, was it a direct target on her? No, it just happened to be the only opportunity that I had to, over to get my hands on the money that I needed to pay back the debt. But
it's a complete coincidence that you took the chips from Robbi. How? I mean, that seems kind of okay. Yeah. How did that happen? Just because, I mean, there's 9 players or 8 players stacks at the table. How did the opportunity arise to get her chips in particular? Or like,
yeah,
explain to me
like
what
I said,
happened at the table exactly when you took the chips.
So this is pretty much to set the scene without giving away too much information. I still want there to be a way for me to explain this, not only just on the podcast, but through my documentary as well. So in a couple of days, when you get a chance to really watch it, I want to make sure we revisit this and go over everything. But yeah, just to kind of explain to you my modus operandi, what I was thinking about in my head as I was going through this. It had been already a few days since I needed to repay this debt. The time was on the clock, and that was just the honest truth. I didn't want to make it seem like I was not able to cover that, even though I would have to make installments and payments. I just wanted to try to, you know, do the easy way. And, obviously that wasn't the right thing to do. But when when I went down there just to pick up all the mics, I kind of like glanced around. Obviously, I was trying to take a look at the situation. I wanted to see whose chips were where and how much were around. And if I could get away with, just taking a few chips that way, I could take care of this. I would never do anything again. And I think that's what a lot of people um would definitely try to claim, where like, oh well, if he took chips, why wouldn't he keep doing it or taking it over and over again? That's exactly my point. Like, this was such a crazy, once in a lifetime shot for me, because I needed to just pay all this money back, that it was like, it was just the only chance that I had. And I wasn't specifically singling anyone out. So that's what I'm saying. There is no connection or like linkage when it comes to her calling with Jack 4. And that's something that I get into in my 2+2 post, where we review that basically. If we take a look at this, you already been in the booth. You already know, you've been the director. We have essentially God mode when it comes to these cards and everything like that. When it comes to these cards, we could see exactly the equity percentage. We know the card removal. We've seen everybody's hands. If we were to want to try to like assist somebody, why would I pick the worst spot in history in the biggest game ever? Like, this is going to be over 25,000 people concurrent watching, which would be within the top 5 poker streams ever live stream in history. That's on the level of the Mr. Beast Ludwig game. That's on the level of the first Phil Ivey. Now we have the biggest pot ever. This is something that I, review. So
Wasn't the biggest
yeah,
pot ever,
I
but it was a
mean,
very highly watched stream. It was the second highly watched Hustler Casino live stream ever.
yeah, it was definitely, it was, if not, yeah, besides the 100K that we had,
Right.
I would definitely say that was the one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Tell me about the day you got fired from Hustler Casino Live. What happened that day? And when was it?
So yeah, that was the craziest day.
The Jack
That
forehand
week,
was September 29th, Friday, September 29th, 2022. How long
and
were you there until you got fired?
I think it was October 4th, Tuesday, or October 6th, one of the 2
You
days.
don't
I would
even,
have to
whatever, the next week,
go
what
back the
day?
exact
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
The very next day, either Tuesday or Thursday. It was
very
funny
next
because I
week?
met Doug.
Yeah.
I met Doug Polk that Monday, and it's funny. I thought the meeting went well,
He was in there
and
to
he was
play
just
on Hustler
up
Casino
there.
Live the very next week,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but he was on his visit. You remember how Nik was telling him to come in and
I
everything like
wasn't there.
that,
Remember, I
to
left a
like
month
check it out.
before.
Yeah, that. But this was stated in a podcast over. I was just wondering if he it was. I thought it was just, regular knowledge. Anyways,
Okay.
that's besides the point. So there was a time where I
I need to
actually
watch
met
the
him,
Nick
and
Bertucci
the
podcast more often.
yeah, you need to tap in. You need to turn post notifications on.
Okay.
But yeah,
So the
so the
next
day that
week,
I got
Polk was in
fired,
there
so
for his week at Hustler Casino
Polk
Live.
was in there. Polk was in there, and we were every single person that worked at Hustler was supposed to meet up with the detective, their own like private investigator, not a detective. And they were basically they were basically going through questions that they had, and I go into the room, and they essentially already know that I had taken chips, but they didn't want to tell me. So they wanted me to come out and tell them. And it got to the point where I kind of realized that, yeah, I'm basically being fired right now. I just told them that, yeah, that I had, did what I did there, and I understood the repercussions. The
Yeah.
police came,
Hold on one second, because
and
we have someone in chat trying to poke a hole in your story. They said you weren't working audio the day of the Jack forehand. Explain what your role was the day of the Jack forehand. Sorry, I'm going back to Friday.
So I wasn't doing audio, but I did mic up half of the players that stream. I work in post production on Fridays. All the high stakes games when I was working there, I would bring my computer. I would make Twitter videos, highlights of the
Right.
stream as we were working.
But
And
the claim that you
at
weren't
that
working
time,
audio isn't exactly correct, because you did mic people up. You just
yeah,
helped out, but your main job wasn't audio that
in
day.
in the beginning, yeah, I wasn't physically on audio throughout the day, but I did do the audio stuff, like put the batteries in the mic packs and go down there and mic the people up. Like, yeah, so it's a combination of everything. Like we do the audio, we do, post production or whatever. That's for me, but
Right. When
I
you
had
came in on
multiple
Fridays, you
hats.
had a different job than you normally did. It wasn't audio. It was, you tell them.
Yeah, post production. Post production was what I was doing on Fridays, so it's audio and Twitter videos and stuff
Right. By
like
post
that. All the
production, he
social media
means
stuff.
uh, during the Friday stream, as the game was going on, he would take clips from the game and post to Twitter as the game was live for promotion. So post production means he was editing video to post on social media, right?
Yeah, and that's like the easiest job. Basically, I would sit there and clip up the clips and everything, get them ready to go tweet and everything. But yeah, I mean that was the craziest day ever. I would say the day that I came there, like I knew that poker would never be the same after that. Essentially,
Yeah. But why would you take the chips the day something that insane went down? Wouldn't that look sketchy?
yeah. Obviously, I understood the circumstances now as far as how deep this investigation would go. But in my mind, you know, being as desperate as I was to try to kind of recoup my losses and everything like that, I was willing to take that risk. I didn't know if they were gonna eventually like see that they were gone, and they wouldn't notice until a week later when they decided to do a deeper dive into everything. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of when they figured it out until they started to do their due diligence with the um with the cameras and everything like that.
Okay. Sorry, I went back a little bit because I wanted to respond to that chat message. But you were
Hmm.
saying how the next week was Doug Polk week, right? And the
Yeah.
investigator, their private investigator, was there, and he
Mhm.
met with all of you together, one at a time. What happened when you ended up getting fired?
Yeah, it was actually just me. I was the very first one of the first few people to actually meet with their private investigator. We go through like, oh, what do you do? What is your role here? Like,
Had they
you
and
know
they
what I
knew you
mean?
had
All the
taken
basic
chips at this
questions.
point, but right?
And I'm not sure if the actual private investigator did, but after our short brief interview, we went to another room with Nik in there, and Nik knew. So if she didn't know, if the private investigator didn't know, then definitely Nik knew.
Well, how did they reveal to you that they knew and you were fired?
So we went through the whole kind of like same exact questions as she did. She did the preliminary questions, and then I go to another room and they like go through everything. It's like, oh, do you know Robbi? Is there
Who?
any sort of
Who?
relationship there? Vertucci and the private investigator. Like we went through the questions over again,
So the private investigator
pretty
interviewed you
much.
first, then Nik and the private investigator interviewed you the second time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's pretty much how it went down. Feldman was also in the room, but he wasn't participating in the questioning and everything. It was just those two. And they basically it was the craziest thing. It's like something out of a movie. There's a private baccarat room in the Hustler, and it was like a very dim light. It was like dark in the middle and like, an old school detective room where they have one person under a light and they have themselves under the light, and we were like talking over this baccarat table. They're like, what if we told you we know that you took chips or whatever? It was like a scene out of the Matrix or something like that. And at that point I already knew that there was like no way that I'm getting myself out of this. I'm probably going to get fired and I potentially might get arrested. So I sort of talked to them and asked them if this is just going to be it, if I could leave, and that would be the end of the day. They said they needed to call Robbi and ask her. And in the very beginning, she obliged. She said that she didn't want to press charges because
Was this a
initially
phone call and were you
they
in on
told
it?
her this was a phone call that I go into detail. I feel like this is a very important phone call that I kind of want to keep private because I do articulate about this in the documentary that I want to tell you
So you want to keep
guys.
it private now, but
And
it's in the documentary.
yeah, it's in the documentary. It was actually a phone call between Nick Vertucci and Robbie J. Lou in that situation. And this is something that I also want to address now that we're on the topic of Nick Vertucci randomly. Um, there's no bad blood. Um, he's already stated that. I want to state it. This isn't a hit piece on the Hustler. I'm giving you the 100% truth on this situation because, like I said, there's some stuff that we haven't discussed in regards to this entire hand and situation and why it's such a big deal. So, if you haven't already, on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, find my YouTube on
Okay, they
Valentine's
can find
Day,
it through our posts on
February
social media.
14th.
Let's just go on with this. Well, we're going to play the trailer at the end also.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that, like, because this is something that will definitely, blow your mind. And like I said, there's nothing bad that's gonna get released or anything, but it'll shift the narrative a little bit because what happened after when they called Robbie and when they allowed me to leave, it was just, I figured that that would be the end of things, and
you figured
things
after
just continue to escalate.
you stole 15K though. You thought you were just going to get off scot free on that?
Well, they elected not to press charges, and at that point, when the police already directly told me, "It's like,
Who
well,
elected not to press
if she
charges?
Robbie,
But was it completely up to her?
yeah, it's completely up to her. It was all her money.
Okay. So
Yeah, so
we were talking about the week Doug Polk was in there. When he was in there, I remember this, and this he then came out with breaking news that said that with a story that had two pieces to it that I found peculiar. There was a black filing cabinet moved to block a camera allegedly, and then you yelled in some way, shape, or form when Rip refunded the money to Robbi. Now, address the black filing cabinet moving to block a camera. What is the story there?
yeah, I would say in like very nice way. Like that's the thing. There's this is something that oh wow. Hold on one second. Can you hear me?
We're good on our end. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because
Yeah, we're
I
good.
thought the stream. Can you repeat what you said though?
Oh wait, something happened to the stream?
Yeah, it was just loading slow on mine.
No. My stream's black. Chat, can you hear me? Chat, can you hear me?
It's up on my end.
Okay, we're back. Bryan, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we are the stream is frozen. Okay, I think we're good. We're back. All right, do you remember?
We're back. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, the black filing cabinet and the yell. Go with the black filing cabinet story first.
Okay. So that's pretty much that's something that I addressed in the 2+2 post.
Yeah, for those who
And
don't
it's
know,
something
Garrett
that
Adelstein made a post laying out his accusations towards Robbi, Bryan, and everyone else he thought was involved in a cheating ring. And you jumped in that thread at some point and responded to a bunch of questions, right?
yeah, exactly.
So anyone can go
There
look
was
at
a
that thread and see his answers.
for sure. I don't remember exactly what page I started on, somewhere between 20 and 30 something, but I going in there and I like, detailing exactly exactly what
Yeah, hold on
was
a
wrong
second. The
with
stream
his
keeps freezing. Okay, we're back. All right. Were we still on the black filing cabinet in the production room?
Yeah, we're back. Still 225 people. Wow, I can't believe you pulled it off.
Yeah, that's never happened. I don't know what happened. But anyway, let's go back to where we left off.
Yeah, so let's do a quick recap of everything so far. Like what's going on?
No, it's okay. Everybody is following along. Let's just continue from where we're at, dude. I wanted to know. I wanted you to explain the black filing cabinet because this is something I thought I wanted you to explain personally because when this story came out, I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, okay. So let me give you a little bit of information on that already that I addressed that a lot of people just didn't even care to really listen to, which was pretty dumb. Like who else is working there that's directly aside Ryan and Nik and everybody and all the commentators that come up there and all the other production people that work up there. Like I'm the one who sees the layout exactly. You know the layout and everything. The perspective from the camera that's in the actual production is in a position where if the filing cabinet was moved, then there would be no further obstruction of the view of the editing table. So the the thing that we're talking about is Doug Polk claiming that, oh, he moved this filing cabinet to block the view while he was looking at the hole cards. When something that I addressed already and have proof of pictures in any of the actual control room, can you see the hole cards? Now, this is something that's already addressed and it's been updated.
So you cut out there.
Only
You're saying, what about you could see the cards from anywhere in the control room, regardless of the filing cabinet?
Yeah. Regardless of the filing cabinet, anybody could see any single set of hole cards from any person that had their cards read through the hand. If they're still in the hand or initially pre-flop before they fold, they could see. You know what I mean? So the fact that they
You're
were trying
completely
to say
frozen.
it was my
You want to
motive.
leave? We gotta have you like leave the meeting. Oh, okay. You unfroze. Sorry. Go ahead. You were frozen for a while. Internet
Yeah.
sucks right
So
now.
basically, they were trying to, the fact that people are trying to make some sort of story out of the filing cabinet is completely ridiculous because it makes no it makes sense as to why he would think that, but that's some time he hasn't experienced the actual full scene of us doing our job in the control room, whether it's working on audio or anything post production graphics. Like he knows how his control room is like, but he doesn't know
Yeah,
how
and we don't need to
our
focus so much on him. It's more about the black filing cabinet. Moving it was irrelevant. And I can say that because I worked up there and I know it already blocked the camera, actually. So moving it wouldn't have done anything. Plus, you could see hole cards from anywhere.
What needs to be clarified, and this is like something that I do go into more detail, but what needs to be clarified is that what was actually moved was the charging station for the comms that we use, and the comms that we use was turned perpendicular to the editing station. So I know that majority of the people that are watching this won't understand the layout of that, but if you understood what we're talking about, and for the select few that actually understand and have some sort of knowledge of the control room, like it's a very asinine take, is what I would say, to say that, oh, like it was his mission to try to go look at the whole cards behind the graphics person when they were viewable anywhere. And that's something that I said that was already addressed. So it's not something that is an issue anymore. The only person that can see the whole cards is the director or I think the graphics person or something like that. But
yeah, so
either way, that's
part of that story was also some yell from you. They claimed you yelled when Rip gave the money back to Robbi. What is the story? I mean, I don't even know what's the story behind that? Was there a yell in agony when the money was given
you would
back?
have to like go back and understand my history with Rip. Like I never knew who
why don't
Rip was.
I jump to this question then and it'll lead us into that.
Sure.
let's just go with right now. When was the first time you came into contact with Robbi J. Lou? And then we'll get
Good
to
question.
Rip and the and
So,
stuff.
so the very first time that I ever like ran across her was in a Twitter thread, actually. So there was a campaign by DGAF Billy, DGAF poker player, CEO of Poker Rags, by the way, if you didn't know. He ran a campaign to see which women wanted to be on Max Payne Monday and for them to like tag people, and it was a long list of people. All of the regular people got tagged, like Marley, Jennifer Tilly, people like that, and they're like, oh, just get this person, get that person. And it was just a list, and I was going through it, and somehow there was like a lineup that got secured, and I wanted to follow somebody that was going to be on the show, and I think it's normal. Like there's a lot of networking that goes on, and
So
you
Robbi
never
was on
know
this
who you're
list that Billy
gonna be
posted on
with.
Twitter, right?
Not him specifically. It was somebody that thread.
Okay, whatever. In this thread, anyways, a list of women who they might want to get on Max Payne Monday. Robbi was on that list on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first time you heard of her. What happened from there in knowing her, or did you know her, or what?
No, actually, this is something that I think wasn't
The point of that story was
made
how you
clear.
started following her on Twitter, right? Because some
Yeah,
people
how I started following her.
claim it's like some sort of evidence that you guys follow each other on Twitter. And, if that's the case, I could be in trouble because I don't know 1,000 of the people I follow. So, yeah, you guys follow each other because people from the show follow each other, or people that might play on the show, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So there's like always people that, even if you don't meet them in real life because they're kind of like surrounding or in the industry or adjacent to the industry that you're in, whether it's poker or social media or something like that, marketing or whatever, uh, definitely just give a follow. I like to expand my network, and it definitely helps you hit the algorithm with other tweets, because if you do follow each other back and you like more stuff, your tweets get promoted and stuff like that. And that's something that I was super big on when using my platform originally, when I was doing all the social media stuff for Hustler. Like I was using it to like pump out funny content. I wanted people to see all of the funny videos. That's how I got Ninja's attention. I used to make a bunch of funny videos of Nik Airball, like stuff that I eventually will repost on my new account. But I just wanted to note that basically.
Okay, so when was the first time you met Robbi J. Lou in person?
So the first time that I met her was the third time that she played on the stream, and it was when I actually went to go mic her up. So like I said, I was doing post-production and audio that day. Audio in the very beginning, prior to the show, go down there, mic people up. And afterwards, after everybody gets mic'd up, I go do my post-production videos. So I'm not on audio full time, but I did audio in the beginning. In the trailer that you watch, there's a part, it's a cropped circle of me, the video of miking her up in the very beginning on that day. And that was my very first interaction. Like she said, hi, I'm Robbi. I just said hello. And we had to mic her up. So I told her, like, you have to put your this wire under your shirt. She obliged right away, put it under her fur. And that's where the interaction ended. So I think it's a pretty normal interaction. Put too much into it. People want to try to put the puzzle pieces together, like mic'd her up and told her like you're gonna call Jack 4 and I'm gonna
I don't think people thought maybe that you could have organized something right when you mic'd her up. We were wondering if you'd met her before or knew her in any sort of way outside of the show.
And this is also another reason why I waited for the entire investigation to be over, because now that it's completely over, they tracked me for 30 days. They watched everything. I never met up with her once anywhere outside of the stream.
What do you mean they
And the
tracked
only
you for
time that
30
we
days?
ever met.
Where, when?
So this is something that was talked, but I think that obviously based on your reaction, you weren't in the loop on that. When it came to the investigation, they told us that, all right, we're gonna watch is on camera for the last 30 days plus if they need to,
Where?
30 days and check at the Hustler.
Oh, just inside the Hustler.
Yeah. When
Okay.
they started to investigate it, and that's when I realized, like, oh shit, they're gonna see exactly what happened that day. But then that also solidified that there was no other like meeting in the
Oh,
past
you're saying they're
or
going to go
anything like
back through
that.
surveillance footage and review the last 30 days. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, exact.
That
Yeah,
Hustler
surveillance
Casino
footage. Yeah,
surveillance. Hustler Casino surveillance footage. Okay.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, had you met Robbi outside of Hustler ever?
No, negative.
All right. What about her friend Rip, another guy involved in this? When was the? Have you met Rip? Have you spoken to him? When's the first time you came in contact with Rip?
So, I've never actually spoken directly to Rip. I've been there when he played the last time because that was the that obviously that I was working at on that day, and I don't think I was the one who actually mic'd him up. It might have been Neve or whatever. I never actually had any sort of interaction with him. I always thought that he came off as kind of kind of, for lack of a better term, like a douchey. You know what I mean? Like that. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel like interacting with them. I thought that, because he had some sort of money or clout, that he was better than other people. And that's nothing against him. I could be wrong and he could be the coolest guy ever. But when I was there walking around, mingling with the people, I just didn't feel like interacting with them. It felt like a big spectacle with the hat and everything. He was loud, obnoxious, which ended up becoming true because afterwards, like we're getting into the yelling stuff,
No.
he seemed like the type of guy to do that. That's why I knew to steer clear because I
To do
wasn't trying
what?
to to blow up and to make cause a scene in front of everybody and be dramatic. You
Right.
know what
This
I
is the
mean?
point
He
where you
was
can explain the yell during
the
this.
yell, exactly.
Your alleged
So
yell.
the so the hand goes down. Everybody knows how the hand goes down and everything like that. Um, Afterwards, 5 minutes after the hand occurred, because
Yeah, not after
Garrett
the show,
doesn't
but
like
after the hand.
after the hand occurred. Yeah, like I said. So Garrett asked Ryan through the dealer to come down so they could have a conversation. Robbi ends up going after, and they have a brief discussion. Now,
What do you
Ryan
mean?
wasn't a part of that.
What do you mean Robbi ends up going after? What does that mean?
So Robbi ends up leaving the table. They pull her off of the table. I don't know exactly who it was. They tapped her on the shoulder and said, "Hey, can you come over here and discuss what just happened?" So they end up corner, which it's like a dark middle section. It's the locker area of the Hustler. If you've been there, it's not like anything crazy. I'm pretty sure everybody that's ever played 5-5 at the Hustler has seen exactly this is. They go down to the lower locker area and they just start to discuss, and they end up coming to the point where I'm not sure exactly how it went down because I wasn't there while the change happened, but Robbi ends up giving the money back, and I think Garrett asked for the back pretty much. In when she asked, "How can I make this right?"
Sorry, you broke up. You
He
said you think
says,
Garrett did what?
So I'm pretty sure Garrett asked for the money back. I'm pretty sure based on all of the accounts that I've heard and I've talked to and everybody around, he asked for the money back. It's not
Okay,
a
but you didn't hear that, so
situation
you don't
where
know that for
she
sure.
offered.
You don't know that for sure. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, I heard it from which is a credible source. So somebody who is
At any
in the
rate,
vicinity of that area.
yeah. Okay, carry on.
So anyway, so they have their exchange. Robbi somehow gives the money back, whether it's through coercion, whether she offers, that's not up for me to establish.
Right.
The money is given back to Garrett, and Rob, who is now pretty much exposed as having some sort of emotional affair, is in a situation because not only is she being staked, but somebody who has some sort of feelings for her is watching her basically get taken advantage of being a recreational player. And that's half of his money. He's definitely about. He gets angry. He calls Garrett a bunch of names and he gets loud and gets in his face, and that's part of the reason that he left. Garrett left eventually,
Mhm.
and
One thing we
the
failed
thing
to
is
mention
to
is that
understand.
Ryan went down to meet with them, and so you were on the directing controls, which you weren't hardly ever
Yeah,
before.
just to recap, like I said, so 5 minutes after the hand, Garrett doesn't like Robbie's questions or whatever.
Robbie's
Garrett, or
answers
I'm
to
sorry,
Garrett's questions
Robbie's
about
answers
why
to
she
Garrett's
played the hand that
questions.
way. Yeah.
So they have that meeting down there. Garrett calls Ryan. They meet. Somebody gets Robbi, and they go over there.
So you hopped into the
Ryan
director's
realizes
chair when that happened.
I go away from my post-production station and I go to directing. I'm working the cameras, and this is when Ryan steps away because he realizes they're handling the money and stuff. And he goes and he allows them to handle their deal or whatever because he can't facilitate any type of deal on the side. So he goes and lets them handle this. In the meantime, I'm up there by myself with two people who just started working at Hustler Casino Live on one of the biggest streams ever. And that was Mike and Neve. And I wanted to try to keep it together, but it was pissing me off that this random whale Rip was yelling in the middle of the video, pretty much like ruining the audio for the entire stream. And they tried to claim that, oh, I was mad alongside with him, and that's why I yelled out. When the reality of the fact is, when he got mad and started yelling, I talked on the comms to man, and I told him to tell him to be
You broke up. You
quiet.
talked on the
And
comms
when
to Lewis, the floor man, down by the table, and said what?
yeah, the table, and I told him to tell Rip to like be quiet and to shut up. And for some reason, he was walking towards the locker area. His voice got louder, and at that point, I got so pissed off that I like took my headset off and I yelled down the stairs for him to like shut the fuck up because we have a show. So, um, explicitly, just like that. And that's pretty much it. If you understood the level of pressure that when 20,000 people are watching the stream and you're somebody who is entrusted by the owner of the stream to like make sure that it's good while he's handling the craziest scandal in history, there's a lot of pressure on me to like make sure that the stream is good. So I obviously was upset, frustrated, and this is part of the missing context that I believe that people don't really haven't really heard or whatever. That being said, I just wanted to address that. That's when I yelled out and pissed off at Rip. I wasn't yelling because I was mad that I thought I lost out when I was somehow in the midst of some sort of elaborate cheating ring. That was not the case. And I think anybody with common sense could really understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Just it's good to hear you explain it because there was a lot of speculation around that. Around that. How about I'm just going through like the people involved, like that were around, and when you first met them, what was your relationship like with Nik Airball?
I love Nik Airball. Nik Airball, if you're watching this, please play 500 1K and I'll pay you back. No, I'm just
You
kidding.
broke up. You said stake me to play 501K.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Anyways, Nik Airball is a really cool dude. He's a couple years older than me. He's like 26 or 27. I'm 25. And
I'm only
he's
bringing
somebody
this up
that I
because
just
of let me just fill in a little context here, because they Nik Airball had dinner with Rip and Robbi the night before at a restaurant, and it looks bad. It looks like maybe they hatched a plan there, and obviously you would have had to have been involved in that plan. So I just want you to explain.
Like I said, I had a the as far as my relationship goes with Nik Airball, all I did was make a funny video and just mic him up during the streams and stuff like that. We would talk and chop it up on Twitter, but he was just one of my favorite like stream players. I never had any relationship outside of that with him.
I was just curious.
Nik
In the games you played on the floor, the 1020, did you ever play with Airball?
I think I played with Airball like maybe once. Probably actually, you know, I don't think he's ever played in the 1020 while I was playing.
Okay, I thought he might have played it before the show just to like screw around, and you might have been in the game.
No, he hasn't done that. That's more of like a J Boogs thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And like Francisco too. Francisco has triple barreled with King Queen off against me, and I had like called him down with second pair.
Nice hand, bro. Let's see. When was the? I'm just going through the characters again. Another person involved in this, or that was talked about in relation to this, was Beanz, the Hustler Casino Live player. What do you know about Beanz? Do you know Beanz?
So Beanz got dragged into this. I don't know how Beanz got dragged into it because Beanz apparently brought Robbi on the stream, and Robbi knew Beanz because Beanz they met somehow somewhere in Vegas, and Beanz was out there in Vegas trying to find people to like give him money or whatever, and he was like an avid borrower or whatever and
he would play on Max Payne Monday. But did you know Beanz outside of Hustler at all?
No, I did not know Beanz outside of Hustler. Outside of social media, I didn't know pretty much any of these people prior to the stream. Like everybody seems like an internet personality to it until I met them in real life. And then even outside of like, if I think about all of the players, if you look at the Ronnie video of him at Nik's house, like those are the only players that I've met outside of the stream that I've ever interacted with.
Okay, yeah. So it doesn't sound like there's any characters in the story that you say you've met outside of Hustler.
Yeah,
except at that one party at Nik's house. I think Garrett was there, but none of the other people involved in this story.
So I don't know. You remember Garrett was at Brett's he's either going away party, right?
Yeah. But none of the people that are none of the claims of a cheating conspiracy, all the characters that are lumped into that. Did you know any of them outside of Hustler?
Yeah, that's gonna be no. I mean, pretty much everybody that's involved.
He said like first, but he meant no.
Yeah, no, I was pretty much finishing what you were saying, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, but that's been mentioned in the like ring scandal, all of that stuff is just a complete fabrication. I would say, if anything, it's like defamation or whatever. But we're not going to get into that because, from what I hear, there's a bunch of like pending litigation going on around that with the money and everything. If you're aware of like the text messages Robbi had sent to Garrett in regards to the 35K.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to address Garrett's 2+2 post that he came out with early on, laying out a whole case against you? That's why I asked you about all these people. His 2+2 post mentioned all the people I just asked you about, right?
Yeah, so in order to address that whole situation, it's gonna take a long time because everything that we talked about already, me like picking apart everything that he's had to say, and he has at this point no other rebuttal than he's wrong, and I think that he just doesn't want to admit it. He's definitely hurt. His ego's hurt, and he made a mistake. And from somebody who's run so good in his life, like making a mistake is devastating to him. Like it's completely ruined his career, I would say.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. I believe in second chances, and I hope one day down the road, this could be all good for everybody involved. But we'll see. We'll see what happens over time.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be like a water under the bridge.
That would be great. Okay. After the hand went down, maybe, I don't know, a week or two later, like you were going to go on Joey Ingram's podcast and then, or live stream podcast. And then you backed out, I guess, at the last minute. I'm not really.
So there is a lot of reason. There's a lot of reason for me not going on the podcast. I had a lot of people in my ear at the time, and I just it was in my best interest that I just exercise some silence and restraint. There's a lot of negativity, toxicity going on in the poker community, a lot of accusations, a lot of hate. And even still to this day, like there's going to be a lot of people, which understandably, I understand why, they're upset and they're angry or whatever. But for them to just go out of their way to go onto Twitter, go onto Instagram, whatever social media, and to leave a hateful comment, something negative saying that like, oh, I can't think of an example, but if I really just go scroll through my Twitter notifications, I could just pick apart all of the negative things I have to say. And
yeah, well, obviously the circumstantial evidence around this whole thing looked unbelievably damning for you. So they probably, based on this, what this looks like from the outside is really bad. And we're trying to, I'm trying to get you to answer all the questions regarding the things that look really bad where the optics are horrible.
And I think so far, I mean, as far as addressing like the main things that people had to come up with, it really summarizes and wraps up everything in the documentary. It kind of goes through all of the facets in which it addresses and goes over pretty much every objection. It has a rebuttal. And there's something where I'm leaving no stone unturned. So please just tune in Valentine's Day, Tuesday. It's going to be out. And
I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer right now.
Go ahead.
Did she cheat? That's the question being asked about a professional poker player who's being accused in the biggest scandal in the game's history. She walked away with $270,000. But did she use a secret signal to help win that jackpot?
Nice. She calls?
For once, but it's up to you.
Yikes. Oh my God.
Then you got this guy Bryan in the back, and Bryan does the graphics, does the sound. Bryan ends up taking $15,000 off of the lady Robbi off of her chip stack at the end of the game.
Okay, so really a lot of interesting stuff here. First and foremost, I want to make it clear that up to this point, we have no evidence of cheating. We have circumstantial thoughts and different things like that.
Now it's confirmed that there was cheating by one of the staff members who stole $15,000 out of her stack during the saga.
Well, not confirmed cheating, confirmed that he stole $15K.
He stole, and this dude, Bryan or whatever, I mean, I've met that dude 10 times. Before he deleted his Instagram, his fucking pinned post on his Instagram, the third pinned post was a selfie he took with me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, look at this.
Look at that.
There he is.
There he is.
Phil Ivey getting mic'd up. That is Tita and Bryan, part of our staff. They are giving him the VIP treatment. And they are taking his phone, which he looks pretty stunned about.
I've decided that I think that it is overwhelmingly likely that she is cheating, although it's obviously not known for sure.
My name is Bryan Sagbigsal, and after 4 months of silence due to pending litigation, I'm making this documentary to expose all the hidden secrets behind the biggest scandal in poker history.
All right, that was the trailer for your documentary that you edited and you shot and edited that's coming out in 2 days called Untold Secrets Behind the Biggest Scandal in Poker History, J-4 Gate.
Yeah. And that was a really great synopsis of the events in the very beginning, a lot of the reactions, and I just wanted to capture that essence that was going around, and I think this just is this is going to be something great for as a great watch, I would say. So definitely to I self-directed it, self-edited everything, every single part of this video is just my truth, and I wanted to get it out there because there's a lot of people that still have doubt about the situation. I think they haven't found that middle ground, and I think this is going to fill in a lot of the gaps for everybody as far as their understanding of the hand and the scandal and everything. It's going to set the record straight for a lot of different things because, one, nobody's ever heard my perspective or what's going on behind the scenes. Everybody thinks that I'm just some, I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to put those words out there, but
yeah, you can't necessarily blame them because a lot of news media outlets picked up the story and they were hearing the story from places like Andrea Chang, the reporter at the LA Times, who actually happened to write a bunch of articles on it, have a sit-down interview with Garrett, sit down with Robbi, maybe more than one, I can't remember. But she took a different tact with trying to get information from you. What happened with you, the LA Times, and this reporter, Andrea Chang?
Yeah, there's definitely a big push in the mainstream media to kind of like take a look at this story and everything. And when it came to the situation with Garrett and Robbi, there was like an organized meeting. They came to their houses, they took pictures. It was a perfect situation when it came to Garrett speaking on his situation when Robbi wanted to give her side of the scandal and everything like that. They ended up coming specific, not they. It was Andrea Chang, who is probably the biggest cancer. She's like a parasite when it comes to reporting. She's a blood-sucking mosquito. She showed up to my house and started knocking on all of the doors and stuff, like demanding that she finds out where I am. And it's somewhere where I didn't even live at the time. Like it was my girlfriend at the time's house, and she came there trying to like figure out where I'm at. And it was a really weird and invasive, disrespectful like way of trying to go about this. I'd never received any sort of like, notification, no sort of proper inquiry, no sort of formal agreement into meeting or whatever. She decided to go take matters into her hands, which she's very bold for doing that. And
would you have agreed to a
that
meeting with the reporter from the LA Times?
in hindsight, yeah, I probably would have. I probably would have agreed and allowed it to happen, but the way that she went about it just ruined any opportunity to that. And I think that a lot of reporters should learn from that, because that they need to do. Content creators use your misfortune for their content, whether they're actually working for the newspaper. Yeah, some of them do. A lot of them do when it comes to very controversial stuff like this in this situation. But a majority of news outlets nowadays, especially mainstream media, are reporting on only, bad things. They want to highlight the negativity in life, and they'll go to any means to get a story. And it's really that she tried to do that. And I understand why, she tries. It's her job or whatever. But seriously, get a new job. You suck.
All right. Do you think Robbi could have cheated in some other way that didn't involve the back of the house, the production staff? Do you think Robbi cheated outside of the way we talked about so far?
Yeah. This is something that I've spoken on, maybe not, or I have publicly in the 2+2 post prior to the investigation being over, because of what I knew already and everything that went on in the hand. Like, there was no sort of cheating from my perspective. I was going to say I was 90% sure. There was a small 10% chance that she had some sort of technology available to intercept these RFID signals. But because I know, how everything worked with the RFID and how she would have to try to like, decipher the exact signal in her cards and use that to, it just seemed impossible. So at this point, now that the investigation is concluded, I've shifted to, 99% not cheating. You know what I mean?
Right. Because you can't be 100% sure about anybody but yourself. But yeah, you don't. Okay. What about you? You DM'd Robbi on Twitter in the early days of this, and those DMs were somehow got out and were scrutinized a lot. Tell me about your DMs to Robbi. People thought someone else wrote them, or someone helped you write them.
Yeah, there was a big uproar, and there's a lot of literary experts that came out of the woodworks to analyze the situation. And think the best way to put it was that they're wrong. They just jumped to conclusions that they're just wanted to believe something. So there's this thing called confirmation bias where whatever information that you have, you'll seek out stuff to confirm what you want to believe. So there was a lot of confirmation bias around that, like, oh, because there's a wouldn't not and a wouldn't not, and it had to be 100% her. In reality, it's something that's very common nowadays. Especially, it was for me, it was autocorrect. It was either autocorrect or I typed something out and then I like delete a part of that message, and it just ended up being there. But that was a coincidence. I thought it was a crazy coincidence. But in regards to the DMs, it was a very personal, heartfelt message that I sent to Robbi, like in the short hours after I had been fired from Hustler Casino Live, and I wanted to express my condolences for what I did. I let her know that let her know that I was sorry and that I was thankful, and that if there's any way that I could try to pay her back, which at this point she doesn't believe that she would get the money back, and she's been reimbursed by Nik or whatever. She just said that it's fine. I'm not going to press charges, and that she allowed me to go. And when we were DMing back and forth, she just asked if she could post it, and she posted it. But
she just asked what?
Yeah,
you broke up there. Say that last part again.
She just asked if she could post it as we were messaging, and I allowed her to post it. Which, in retrospect, I definitely think it was a mistake, because the way that it got interpreted was completely wrong. I think between us, and there wouldn't have been so much public backlash. But me being the person that I am, I wanted to allow people to know like what exactly happened. I wanted to be transparent and let people know that I was actually genuinely sorry. But all that caused for people to call her out and say, "Oh, obviously now you're cheating because you don't want to press charges." How fucked up is that for me to like really be going through a really bad time and just struggling really bad, and she allows me, based on her experiences, you know what I mean, in the past, she wants to show some grace, show some be able to learn from the mistake, because I already lost my job at that point there, and she doesn't believe that she would get the money back, to try to not to add insult to injury and to not press the charges. But the poker community is so toxic, they like pressure her into either doing it or they're not going to believe her. And I think you are a witness who is influenced by a bunch of people with big platforms. I'm not going to go into detail exactly who, but I think
we don't need to name those names.
The
but
big microphones.
Someone in chat asked a question about that, and I think the answer is pretty obvious, but I'll let you answer it. Why didn't you reach out to one of the big poker podcasts to go on there to tell your story and clear your name?
Because I really truly believed that 99% of everybody who is doing a podcast or talking about the situation in the first month or even the first 2 weeks of the situation, where it was the most searched and most popular incident at that time, I didn't think anybody had my best interest in the situation. So I thought it would be in my best interest to really just stay quiet and to try to seek legal advice. And that's what's dumb, that people will come onto Twitter and be like, "Oh, shouldn't you be in jail?" Or like, "What's going on? Like, where's the why haven't you turned yourself into the police?" They don't even know the legal situation, or if I do have a lawyer that's actively working on the case or anything like that, which I want to just save that for the documentary and address all of that. It's something that I'm actively working on. So I think people just have a misunderstanding. They just want to be mad at something. They want to try to crucify me and assassinate my character, when even though, this is something that's been wrong, I want to find a way to make this something where I grow from it. You know what I mean? I don't want to make this something that defines me at my age. You know what I mean? It being in my 20s and everything like that. And I don't want this to it'll always be on my record and everything, and everybody will always remember this. But I don't want my life to be, mired in controversy when it comes to this. I think that I'll learn from the situation, everybody involved.
Yeah.
The only person that got really wrecked was the amateur poker player who just made a mistake. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down
poker
to.
mistake,
I think that a lot of people, a huge blunder.
You're talking about,
you know what I mean?
Robbi's play in the Jack-4 hand that triggered all this. Yeah. And I will say, I was also, I had a lot of people like pushing me to go on Joey Ingram's podcast, and maybe I could have gone on other podcasts, but I didn't want to. Like, I could have cleared the air on a lot of stuff, even though I didn't work there when this happened. I knew the intimate dealings, and I had been talking to you. I knew the dealings of inside the studio and stuff, but they just weren't friendly ground. Like, why would I want to go on a podcast where I know I'm innocent? Or people were even suspecting me as a disgruntled former employee like a month later. And like, why would I go on a platform where people are
I remember
and,
that.
Accuse me of being guilty of something when I'm not? Like, I don't need to go on your platform. So like, there's no point.
One person, I think there was some sort of talk about who did this and who is smart enough to do it. And to you, even though you came up, they were saying that you were one of the smartest people that could potentially pull it off if you wanted to do it. A disgruntled hustler employee is how the narrative was.
Yeah, I was gone for a month, and the internet was still trying to like wrangle me into this. But so yeah, I could see not going on hostile podcasts.
Okay. I don't know why. Let me just jump to podcasts. I think everybody knew why I wouldn't want to do that, because it was such a terrible, controversial topic to go on at the time, and it would have resulted in nothing but negative people saying what they were saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So another just part of this story was there was was it a $250,000 bounty put out for information leading for someone who would admit to this cheating who was allegedly involved? What about the bounty out there? And they thought
the bounty.
You didn't claim the bounty. Why didn't you claim the bounty?
When you're just a normal random poker fish, and then all of a sudden you have Joey Ingram and Sean Deeb and all these people like messaging and texting, talking about this situation, it's something that is like shocking. Like, you don't even know how to react at first. It's something that I didn't know how to react to. It was an unfathomable amount of money. I figured that, if I really had a story to come out, you know what I mean, I would have collected a bounty to do that. And I think that's what a lot of people think. So I want to uncover that mystery through this documentary that's coming out in a couple of days. And I want to address that directly through the documentary, because right now that's a big question that everybody has. So I do talk about that, and I just in greater detail. And I think it would take a long time for me to kind of go through that right now. But I wanted to just keep it flowing because we have the interest of the chat, and I want to answer some more questions and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, I was just reading the chat. Did you address the $250K bounty? I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, the bounty was shown to me. I was enticed. Like I said, if you knew already about the 2+, if you read my 2+2 post and something that I do go over, I do say that, it would be great to do that. It's a life-changing amount of money. And I just have no way of claiming it because that would result in the cheating, perhaps.
Yeah, tell me about Sean Deeb's text message to you about the bounty.
Well, right now, if everything were true, I would have $250,000 in crypto in an account right now, personally funded from Sean Deeb, from Haralabos, from Tom Dwan. Nik Airball actually had the $200K that was being offered or whatever. So it would be a bunch of people that were trying to seek the truth on that, a bunch of rich poker players, essentially. And I think we all know why I wasn't able to take that. One thing, I didn't even believe that it was real. And two, there's no way that I could do it because they would just want information on if there was cheating or not. And if there wasn't cheating, then what they would do, what would they do? They would be like, oh, sorry, you got fucked out of your job. We're just gonna make fun of you on the stream. Like they didn't care about what really was going on in my life at the time. I was going through some serious financial trouble. I had legal trouble and there's stuff and everything going on at the Hustler. So I didn't think that, me trying negotiate this bounty with Sean Deeb on a live podcast would go well. And I think everybody knows that.
Yeah. All right. Chat, if anybody in chat could, if I'm missing anything, please throw it in there. I still have a couple more questions, but please throw something in chat. If I'm missing any detail that people that where the optics are bad or that people have been wondering about, please throw it in the chat for me. So what else? I mean,
Sandy Joy wants to know if I'm making money from the documentary. I want to talk to Sandy Joy. And Sandy Joy, I am not. A lot of people think, oh, he's doing this for the money. He's doing this for whatever my motive is. I just want to hold myself accountable for everything that happened. It's important that I really make myself public and open because it's
how are you going to make? You're not going to make money off the documentary unless it goes super viral. Like you did it all yourself.
Yeah, it would.
People don't understand how YouTube works. Like posting a documentary on YouTube isn't going to make you any money. Even if it got 1 million views, it would barely give you any money.
Yeah, exactly. Let me go through this more. 10 outs or us is a lot of questions, and I feel like he's not being heard or whatever because he feels like
address it.
Not
address
answering
something
whatever
he's asking.
Let me see. I'm not buying it or whatever.
Yeah. Don't read out random comments. Don't read those out. Just if there's a question, answer it. Otherwise, let me ask you just a direct, straightforward question.
Sure.
Were you part of a cheating conspiracy at Hustle Casino Live where you relayed whole card information to players at the table?
No. And that's my short answer. But we could go into a very deeper answer on that. Or how
we kind of just did, and the documentary is going to lay it all out. Yeah, you were saying that?
Exactly.
How ridiculous is that?
How ridiculous is that? I would try to. There's so within a few hours of discovering or feeling like you got cheated, can you formulate some entire fantasy of an Ocean's 11 scam being conducted on one of the biggest games ever? It's just mind-boggling to me that some people are so detached from reality, they couldn't even have the common sense to think that maybe I'm wrong in this situation. And it goes for Garrett in the situation, but he definitely knows that at this point there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen for him to set that straight. But like you said, I know how you feel. I feel like he should have a second chance or whatever. I think that he definitely is somebody who made a mistake, a bigger mistake. He should return the money, and that's my position on that. I go into it more later on in the documentary, but
you made the mistake of stealing the 15K or the lapse in judgment, and then you're saying he also made a mistake.
Yeah, all of that. He definitely had a lapse in judgment. I had a lapse in judgment, and there's different magnitudes for these different things. And this is at no means a deflection, but they have these huge influencers doing NFT scams and everything like that. They have people who are wanted for murder and robbery and rape. And we want to focus on the material stuff like poker chips that, I did make a mistake. And that's essentially what I'm doing by making this documentary, to highlight that, learn from that, speak openly and create that dialogue so that way other people don't make that same mistake. You know what I mean? That goes into that ties into my purpose on why I'm making the film, because it's not only just for information, it's also relinquishing that that guilt that I have as far as on me and making things right where they need to be made right, because situation that's gone on for a long time. A lot of people have lost a bit of interest, but I think I'm doing this at the perfect time, considering that, you know, Robbi's out there, the investigation's over, Garrett is taking care of his baby or whatever, and me, I got the short end of the stick where I'm just kind of like, you know, trying to figure out where I'm going to go with my life and what I'm going to do. And at this point in time, I am I have a vision.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I just want to correct something I said a minute ago really quickly. I did say even if it got 1 million views, you wouldn't make any money. That's actually not accurate. From my experience making poker YouTube videos that got 1 million views, it could make 8 to 10. Those made 8 to 10K. So you would make some money if it got 1 million views. I didn't mean to say that, but anyway. So yeah, what are you going to do with the rest of your life?
Yeah. So before we get the future plans and everything, let me answer this real quick. Texas Donkey, they said you had a criminal record before all of this. So something that I will address in the future is a lot like my past history with my run-ins with the, as that goes. The only time that I ever had any sort of like police trouble was when I was 18, and this happened when I was 25. So it was like a 7-year gap between all of this, and it's something that I definitely want to tell the full story on, because it's a crazy story on how what I got in trouble. And in long story short, I was framed when I was 19, 18 turning 19, right around that ballpark, for a robbery that I actually did not commit. And it's something that's cases closed. I've been convicted. Something that I will address in a future story time or video where I detail that. But when it comes to having a criminal record to answer, correct. Yes. And I do have paperwork.
I'll let you address that in your own way at another time. I won't go into that, but that's interesting. I hadn't heard that.
So that's something that's also like a huge deal to me, because not only did that happen at a crazy time in my life where I was really young, and I essentially got, they tried to make it where they were going to give me years and years. They lied basically and tried to make me take a deal on my situation. And I got probation out of that. And I ended up messing up on probation and having to go to jail. But that was years and years prior to all of this. And at that time, the case has already been taken care of. Like, there's no probation or parole that I was on or anything like that. This is a completely separate incident and needs to be addressed. Like, I'm not a career criminal. Like, people like to say, like, oh, this guy's 6-7 years. Like,
say that again. We're having some internet issues here. You said back up like 10 seconds.
So basically that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people like to try to paint that picture like I'm some sort of career criminal when I only turned 18 in 2015 and it's 2023 now. Like, I've only been in trouble or gone to jail for real one time, and that was something that I learned from and never do again. And
but then again, we're back here where you just stole 15,000 in chips, and you're kind of saying the same thing. So how can we believe you this time, I guess?
Yeah. So like I said, I want to shift all of the attention towards, the documentary that's coming out and everything. And, just take a listen, watch it, go through everything like that. And what you don't understand is all the details behind that. I think everybody just takes a record for face value, and they don't take the time. Like, have you ever requested all of the document for, the case, and have you looked at the case and all the evidence and like that? So without that proper context, you can't actually make a claim on what you believe happened. down the road where it's like, it's going to be talked about or whatever. But yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to touch on, because I see a lot of people want to mention that, but they have no idea what I've actually done in my past and what has happened. It's all based on a Google search or whatever. So for anybody to say, "Oh, you have a record" or whatever, you have zero idea what has actually occurred, or I have on my record. You just know how to search on Google. So congratulations on that. Other than that, this has been a really, a really eye-opening experience, like as far as going through all of this. So I'm glad that you're asking the tough questions. And even though we are, cool with each other as far as like friendly and everything, and you weren't afraid to really stick it to me. And I appreciate that, because what I want to do more than anything is let people know like the truth on the situation.
All right, yeah, so I asked you about your future plans. You jumped back to clarify something in your past, but yeah, what are you going to do with the rest of your life?
Right now, I'm pretty much trying to make some documentaries after this that I have lined up. The subjects that I'll be covering are going to be current events, political stuff, and I think I'll be posting more trailers and covering more stuff that I'm passionate about. I wanted to kind of not necessarily close this chapter. I wanted to let people know that I'm taking this, going to learn from this, going to hold myself accountable, take care of all of the legal ramifications that come along with this. And I want to try to like at least end the cycle of negativity that's been going on social media.
When are you going to take care of the legal stuff?
It's being handled as we speak. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't understand that even if I'm out here right now,
I thought it was being handled as we speak 4 months ago. What's different now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. These cases, if you have a real lawyer,
I actually claimed on Twitter that you were going to turn yourself in soon, like 5 months ago, and I was obviously wrong on that. So what's the deal?
Yeah, so that wasn't 5 months ago. That was like in October or whatever. That was like we're splitting hairs here on the time exactly, but essentially, because I have to make sure that the legal representation handles this properly, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to be in custody. I have different things that I'm working on as far as, trying to work on my life as I let the legal people handle what they need to on their end. And it doesn't require me to have to like turn myself in. I think that's what a lot of people have a misconception on, especially media. And
I don't know where you are, but if you're in California, they wouldn't be trying to arrest you?
Yeah, I have there's a warrant right now, but like I said, the whole case is being handled through the law firm or whatever. The law firm will handle everything that they need to.
Is your law firm in contact with police?
Yeah.
They are. Okay. Yeah. This was just a point that I was absolutely super curious about the entire time. So you were in the middle of telling me what you're going to do with the rest of your life, talking about dealing with the legal ramifications. I just wanted to jump in and say, when are you going to deal with the legal ramifications? Can you pick back up?
That's what I'm saying. I think that that's where the misunderstanding is. I am dealing with the legal ramifications. I have a legal team that's taking care of everything that they need to take care of on my end. By saying, when are you going to do it? That's not a correct, like the question is, that's not correct. I am handling what I need to handle in order to straighten all of that stuff out, because I do have, I do have, when I want to get that taken care of is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now tell us what your future plans are. So this documentary comes out on Tuesday. That's going to be a big piece of the puzzle for you, right?
Yeah. So in the future, once all of this stuff gets, taken care of, it's not going to stop me from, proceeding with what I got going on right now, which is documentary filmmaking, reporting on stuff that I'm more passionate about, whether it's political stuff in pop culture, other stuff that needs to be reported on. I'm going to be there. I'm going to have be making some documentaries, and I do on this, like, privately, on all of the different inspirations that I had for the YouTube stuff going forward when it comes to making these documentaries, and all the people that I kind of am modeling myself after. And I think I have a brochure in filmmaking and making documentaries that are interesting, that people want to watch, and bring topics and stuff.
All right. Is there anything else you want to address? I just wanted to get you on here and ask you all the questions about everything me and everyone else has been wondering about. I hope I'm not missing anything, but is there anything you'd like to say to anyone involved in this situation, or anything in general?
Yeah, let's answer more. Nothing in general. I just wanted to, there's a bunch of more chat questions.
Don't read chat names and random stuff from the chat out loud. If there's a question, answer.
I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm gonna play the trailer and the outro, and we'll wrap it up.
Cool. Let's just address a few more things, and it's not like I'm not gonna say random shit.
Don't read the screen names.
Yeah,
don't read the screen names. Just read the question.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for more. If there's more questions, it's just statements that I want to talk about. People saying that there's stuff in the Twitch, and I just wanted to cover.
Yeah. If there's stuff in there that you saw earlier that you want to address, let me know.
Yeah, let me see.
All right, brother. Listen, let's just wrap this up. Your documentary is going to cover everything,
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. I don't want to sit here browsing through chat. Let's go. Let's send it to the outro. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me and answering.
We're going to play the outro.
Yeah, we're going to play the trailer one more time. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me. It's been an eye-opening conversation for a lot of people, I'm sure. And I'm glad I could help, shed some more light on this story. And people could finally hear Bryan Sagbigsal speak. So anyway, thanks for coming on. And thanks for doing this.
Appreciate you, Pat.
Did she cheat? That's the question being asked about a professional poker player who's being accused in the biggest scandal in the game's history. She walked away with $270,000. But did she use a secret signal to help win that jackpot?
She calls?
For once, but it's up to you. Yikes.
Oh my God.
Then you got this guy Bryan in the back, and Bryan does the graphics, does the sound. Bryan ends up taking $15,000 off of the lady Robbi off of her chip stack at the end of the game.
Okay, so really a lot of interesting stuff here. First and foremost, I want to make it clear that up to this point, we have no evidence of cheating. We have circumstantial thoughts and different things like that.
Now it's confirmed that there was cheating by one of the staff members who stole $15,000 out of her stack during the saga.
Well, not confirmed cheating, confirmed that he stole $15K.
He stole. And this dude, Bryan or whatever, I mean, I've met that dude 10 times. Before he deleted his Instagram, his fucking pinned post on his Instagram, the third pinned post was a selfie he took with me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, look at this.
Look at that.
There he is.
There he is.
Phil Ivey getting mic'd up. That is Tita and Bryan, part of our staff. They are giving him the VIP treatment. And they are taking his phone, which he looks pretty stunned about.
I've decided that I think that it is overwhelmingly likely that she is cheating, although it's obviously not known for sure.
My name is Bryan Sagbigsal, and after 4 months of silence due to pending litigation, I'm making this documentary to expose all the hidden secrets behind the biggest scandal in poker history.